something, a nuance, but an important nuance in my perception or the way I think about narcissism has changed. And that is coming from the discussion about nature versus nourish, right? Meaning, is narcissism only created by dysfunctional parenting, or is it created by genetic disposition, or a combination, and everything in between? So the way I educated myself, I thought it really boils down to bad parenting. So then we have two conditions under which narcissism can be created in children, and Professor Wagner said the chance under these conditions is only 5%. So a child under the same conditions can become narcissistic, but most others will not become narcissistic. They will find another coping strategy and not have this almost irreversible personality disorder for a lifetime. So they might have some traumatic experiences, but find coping strategies, other ways to deal with it. Anyway, I think about it now, going a little bit more into the genetic disposition idea, because I personally know one orphan and many people with very difficult childhoods who never received that thing from the parents that in the description, if you believe it's all about parenting, should necessarily be there to create a healthy individual or lack and lead to the potential to create a broken child, a narcissist. Complicated story short, there is people who don't receive the gaze of the mother, the loving gaze, the unconditional love, to feel seen, to feel safe. There is people who don't receive this unconditional first form of unconditional love by parents, yet they become great individuals that are not hyper-competitive, manipulative, and having a lack of consciousness and no real warm empathy, but what we might call dark empathy, or only have a limited empathy that is weaponized. They have to create in-groups and come with all deficiencies of narcissism. So, in other words, I have observed that people can become absolutely great individuals, personalities, diverse personalities, with all nuances, able to be examples of unconditional love, following the example of Jesus Christ. Not in a religious sense, but in a sense of living and showing strength and boldness and independence of the wicked ways of the world. So this is why I believe there must be a strong genetic disposition as well. I say this because I often explain narcissism as only the result of bad parenting, because that's what I sense in the emotional quality when I engage with the people who led me to study narcissism deeper, to understand what's happening around me. Why are these people so stupid and dysfunctional? And why is it that the person who brings nothing to the table except of dysfunction and impotence starts to compete about everything? So I could not make sense of what's happening. So I had to study it to understand this. And yeah, it's a pretty interesting topic. So when I analyze this emotional quality that I have witnessed, sorry, I have to finish the thought from the beginning of the video. I realized that there is as I said in the beginning of the video, there is the neglected child that is rejected, not receiving mother's gaze. And this leads to bad introject, meaning this is a person that is pursued by self-hate and self-doubt, compensating through narcissism. And the other way that narcissism can be created is through idealization and devaluing of the parents. In other words, too much love, artificial love, performative love, conditional love, and then withdrawal, sudden selfish withdrawal of the parents, ignoring the child completely and then re-idealizing it. This is also a form of reverse parenting, because the parents only take care of the child whenever they want to, not when the child needs it. They also don't ask about consent. They just do what they do when they want to and have time to. So these two conditions can lead to narcissism, but as I explain in this video, I believe there is a genetic component to it, because under the worst conditions and the absence of parents, individuals can become great people, strong people, living by example. And sometimes I also believe that really dysfunctional parenting, of course, can be sometimes maybe worse than no parenting, because the child without very dysfunctional parents would probably find better caretakers than very bad parents. But in most cases, I am an advocate of keeping the children with their parents, of course. Makes sense, right? I want to add something to the video. This in itself, I think, is a miracle. That there's people who did not receive this unconditional form of undescribable love, and they're able to carry it inside and share it indefinitely and reciprocate it, to feel it, to have a concept about it without receiving it before. This is a miracle. This is nothing less but a miracle. And for me, this has a form of a very mystical quality. It's a mystery that this is possible, and it's a promise of life. So I think the thought construct of saying narcissism could be partially, at least, or genetically dispositioned, is rather a redemption for the people alive, to know that no matter how bad the parenting was that you received, is not the factor that determines who you are. And nobody can change his nature. You can only fight your nature. And this is not good. So I just wanted to add this, and at the end of the video, to let you know my thoughts about it. Thank you.